So a lot of people coming back for 11.1 potentially. My cousin was just talking to me the other day telling me, hey, I'm coming back. What class should I play? I told him play Hunter. You love Hunter back in the day, play Hunter. It's in a great spot. It's easy to play. And that's the thing. When somebody comes back to the game, maybe they should be playing something easy. Or maybe you just want your next patch to be a little bit easier. Well, we got a list right here. 11.1's easiest DPS classes to dominate right now. So let's see what the easiest specs are in the game according to the Comeback Kids. Here we go.
When you're about to hop into a new major patch, it can always be daunting
Classes
deciding
for
what
noobs.
class to main, whether it be because you took a break from the game, you were playing
Another
a different
Hunter of the
version a while,
community.
or simply it's just your first time playing. The Comeback Kids are here to help. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down the easiest DPS specs you could main in patch 11.1 of the War Within.
I can
These
take
ratings
just
are
fine, thank
based
you.
on the skill level required to play the spec, the performance of how the spec is doing right now, the design, and if it's fun, and also the theme of the class spec overall. Hopefully,
I will say overall, range I feel like is typically easier than melee specs because you're just not as close to all the mechanics and it's easier to dodge from a distance a lot of times. That I know that's not the case for every single pull and every single dungeon and boss fight and everything else, but typically, you know, it's a little bit easier to just sit back and shoot at things.
by doing so, we can point you in the right direction for selecting a class that's perfect for you. Now, out of all the relatively recent reworks and redesigns, Retribution Paladin personally is #1 on my list. I think what they did to Ret Paladin was nothing but...
Paladins are noobs, confirmed. All Paladins are noobs, okay? I don't want to hear it anymore from the Paladins in the chat always talking about how they're pumping hard and how they're clearing plus 11s and all that. You're all noobs. You're all playing the easiest class in the game. Let's just end the video.
Highly exceptional for the spec overall because it once had a rotation that was pretty damn bloated and full of so many buttons, but now it's been just condensed and redesigned into something that's very simple to learn that I know for a fact anybody can pick up. Your basic attacks now...
If you're wondering, for reference, anybody who's new here, I play Blood DK, all right? One of the harder tanks in the game right now, okay? Survivability, you got to heal your dick off to stay alive. You don't have as much damage mitigation as, say, a Paladin does. Look, I deal with shit, all right? But I got skills, so I can pay the bills. Everybody else playing Paladin, you're just talking shit, but you're playing the easiest class in the game.
Occasionally grant holy power, so you're not spamming Crusader Strike. When you use Blade of Justice, it now passively casts Consecrate on enemies around you to deal AoE damage. And whenever you use your Wake of Ashes ability, it also activates your Avenging Wrath. So every 30 seconds or so, you have some major damage windows, which makes this spec fantastic in AoE scenarios and specifically for Mythic.
It is emotional damage for the Paladins, maybe.
Plus, you also have Divine Hammer, which is a 1-minute cooldown that shoots hammers around you to deal damage constantly. I mean, listen, I'm loving Ret Paladin right now, and I think for a beginner player, it's easily one of the most effective and simple classes in the game. Now, throughout Season 1, there have been some different meta changes for this spec on their hero talents, but at the moment, Templar is better, even after the slight nerfs. Either way, though, with Templar, your hero talent tree, you get the new activatable ability called the Hammer of Light, which you can use after Wake of Ashes that can hit for millions of damage. It deals a nice chunk of AoE and shoots out these Empyrean hammers around you to deal consistent DPS. You combine this with a nice little 1-2 punch combo. You're casting your Wake of Ashes, you get your Avenging Wrath for free, and then you use your Hammer of Light, you deal a nice big chunk of damage, and it's really satisfying to use. One of my favorite aspects of Ret Paladin is the...
I will say, by the way, I think Paladin's probably one of the most played classes in the game right now. It's whether it's Retribution or tanking, obviously, they are the meta tank right now, Prop Pally. Even Holy, I feel like they're popping in. It's just everywhere. Everyone's playing Paladin.
Pure amount of utility you can also bring. It's easily amongst some of the highest in the game. You got all your blessings, your bubbles, your chunky off heals with Word of Glory. You got lay on hands if your tank needs it. You got battle res. I mean, there is so much off healing and utility potential for this class. The ceiling can be very high for a Ret Paladin if you want to dive in and master the spec. Overall, I think for a low skill ceiling with a class that's easy to pick up, that brings great utility, Ret Paladin is amongst some of the best in the game. If you're looking for an easy class that's definitely going to excel in the next patch, this one can absolutely be for you. Moving on, next we have the Frost Behemoth, the Frost Death Knight. Now, if you're looking for a class spec...
Now, yes, this is the same class that I play, but I don't play Frost spec because I like the challenge. But I will say, Frost, though, is very much based on that damage window. You got that window with Breath of Cindergosa. You got to pop off, and hit your shit.
Incredible burst potential during their cooldowns, and you like to see big numbers.
I will say
this spec should be for you. Frost DK, I believe, is going to end up being one of the better melee DPS in the game next
Ooh.
patch. I personally prefer and really enjoy playing the Breath of Sindragosa build. You kind of plan on having, you know, your heavy burst damage on these 2-minute intervals when you pop your breath cooldown. The whole gimmick is you save up as much runic power as you can.
Yeah, we'll see when he
You
gets into
pop your
range.
Breath of Sindragosa with all of your other combined cooldowns, and then you leverage Horn of Winter, an empowered rune weapon, to continuously generate
Right.
runic power so you can stay in the Breath of Sindragosa state for as long
That's
as
what
you
it's
can. And
all
if you
about.
do it properly, you'll just be melting down everything in front of you for
I used to play Frost back in the day a lot, and it was fun trying to keep Breath of Sindragosa up. You keep your damage window open, and you pop the hell off. And then between your breaths, you're just trying to maintain as much damage as you possibly can, line up all your cooldowns, and then blast off again. It's a fun way to play a DPS class.
millions upon millions of damage at a
Sure.
time. Outside of your major
What's up,
cooldowns,
Josh?
you have your procs for Killing Machine, Empowered Frost Strikes, and generally, you're using your Reaper's Mark and making sure to pair it with your Pillar of Frost, and you should be
Right.
just fine. You also have the Obliterate with your AoE Frost Strikes.
It is easy. It's
exploding
why
the
it's on the
stacks of
list.
Razor Ice build as well. Either way, though, I think both of them are very effective. Both of them are fun. Not only that, their hero talent tree with the Deathbringer really feeds into the Frost Death Knight theme, in my opinion. You get your Reaper's Mark, and when you cast it, it explodes on enemies that are low life, and it deals a crap load of damage, and it also gives you your Exterminate
Scythe
ability,
animation's
where you take
badass.
out this massive scythe,
Yeah.
and you slash enemies in front of you, which feels phenomenal, and it's incredibly effective in AoE. I think if you're talking about a spec that has, of course, fantastic class fantasy, great burst potential, and a very
I have to say, in all MMOs, I feel like Blizzard and World of Warcraft just have the best animations for like hitting things. No MMO feels as good to hit something as World of Warcraft. And all the changes that they made recently, they added all these new animations to a lot of spells and everything. They just look so damn good, and they feel good.
simplistic design. Frost Death Knight checks all the boxes here. I do think Frost Death Knight does lack
No,
some
blood is not
consistency
easy,
in terms of
Hotstitude.
damage outside of their major cooldowns,
Takes
but
skill.
overall they definitely take one of my votes for being one of the easier and best performing specs heading into the new patch. Okay, now when you're talking about one of the easier specs, it's all about bringing
What the
raw
hell? He's leading with 3 melee classes. Is this list in order? I'm kind of shook right now. I'm surprised.
damage. There's no shot you don't bring up the two-handed Arms Warrior. This spec is a staple in any fantasy RPG game. You pick up big sword, swing that shit till something dies. Now, in Season 1, Arms Warrior started off very strong, but just progressively got worse and worse as the patch went on, sadly. The spec, it was begging for buffs for a while, and actually Blizzard brought some changes the last week or so that makes players love the spec so far. So the class spec that's there, and
we'll
it's
see where they
meant to
stack
deal
up
nothing but
later.
raw damage, it actually deals good damage again, so what a surprise. Now, the simplicity of Arms Warrior, though, is by far my favorite aspect of the spec. You keep up rend on your target, you pretty much spam overpower to increase the damage of your next cleave or mortal strike, and if you're an AoE, you pair that with sweeping strikes and Warbreaker and some of the other offensive cooldowns, you're going to be just annihilating anything on your screen that moves. I love that Warrior has a mountain of offensive cooldowns.
I feel like, aren't they better, though, at AoE than they are at melee? Or, single target. Aren't they a better AoE DPS class? That's what it's all about for them. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I thought when it came to Arms Warrior.
Cooldowns that they could pair into a one-button macro, and it can amplify your damage by like 100% by pressing one single button every so often. Very satisfying to
whatever
see
you say.
everything die after you pop that cooldown. I mean, there have been times where I've hit 3 to 4 million damage cleaves
So
when I
angry.
have all my cooldowns up and ready to go, and it's by far one of the most satisfying things I personally have experienced in the War Within so far. Their talent tree is very simple, it's easy to understand, to the point where it's literally just all about increasing your damage more and more, and there's really nothing complicating it. I love how the Arms Warrior is very straight to the point in every aspect. The rotation, hero talent tree, their design, their theme, all of it is very simple and easy to understand. Their Colossus hero talent tree, in my opinion, is the clear-cut winner when it comes to their hero talent trees. As you go about your rotation, you gain stacks your Colossal Might, which increases the damage of your Demolish ability, which is your new hero
Damn, by
talent
100%.
activatable ability. And this ability right here can hit for millions of damage all on its own, similar to the Ret Paladin Hammer of Light
Blasted.
ability. After playing pretty much every DPS spec in the game, it's really been a breath of fresh air to see Arms Warrior feel like it did in the previous old iterations of the game, like Classic, TBC, and Wrath. They're there for just a crap load of damage. You have a very simple few button rotation, and you deal
That's what he said,
insane
millions.
numbers
I mean-
when all your cooldowns are up. After the buff,
He hit for 1.5 million. I didn't see more than into the 2 millions, so maybe he should take the S off of
last week,
millions.
this class's consistency has gotten
still good.
significantly better, which in my opinion makes it one of the better melee DPS as of the last couple weeks. Moving up next, we have a ranged DPS that is
There it is, finally, Destro Warlock. I mean, I was saying, man, where's the range? I already know people on YouTube are going to comment. They're going to be like, yeah, Sam starts video by saying range are easier. Video proceeds to lead with 3 melee DPS. Yeah, okay. Well, it's not my video, but I can still comment.
Pretty straightforward.
We have a realm to destroy.
Frag Labs, thank you for the follow. Welcome to our Scourge. Okay, we got our first range here, Destro Warlock.
Destruction Warlock. Yes, you heard that right. Destruction Warlock is pretty damn easy, but it also has a wide variety of build options to play around. So your single target raid and your AoE Mythic Plus build feels pretty different, but in a way that's satisfying and not super convoluted and confusing. I think the fact that also Destruction Warlock doesn't suffer from, you know, swapping builds too much in either scenario is kind of what makes it stand out. If you're running a full AoE build, you can still deal pretty good single target damage, and it doesn't hurt you that bad.
I think that's where Destro shines, and that's what I've been seeing. Mythic Plus is where they're really at, because it's all the AoE. That's what they're about. That's what they're great at.
Destruction Warlock is your basic builder and spender type of gameplay. You cast certain abilities to build up what is called soul shards, and then you use these soul shards on abilities like Chaos Bolt for single target and Rain of Fire for AoE. So typically, if you're in an AoE scenario, you'll spec into the Hellcaller hero talent tree and use an ability called Cataclysm to instantly afflict everyone with Wither.
Doesn't this not have like a mob limit too? Tell me if I'm wrong, guys. Doesn't this not have the Firestorm shit not have a mob limit, so you can just literally blast as much melee DPS or AoE DPS as possible? Where's your Samic Bald emote on YouTube?
You pop your channel Demon Fire and Malevolence, and then you build up your soul shards. You spam your Rain of Fire, bada bing, bada boom. That's literally how you can deal millions of damage. If you like seeing explosive animations with a very high consistent DPS, Destruction Warlock should absolutely be on the menu for you. You also have your single target scenarios where you spec into Diabolist, you get that Soulfire talented out, and you're constantly tossing out millions of damage, Chaos Bolts, Soulfires. You got all these demons coming out from the Burning Legion to assist you in battle, and by far, Destruction Warlock has some of the biggest crit numbers in the entire game, and with how well their tier set helps them in Season 2, their damage is only going to get higher as we move into the expansion. These sort of abilities for single target with Warlock make me feel like I'm playing the spec back in like Wrath of the Lich King, where you're tossing out these Chaos Bolts and Soulfires that could literally one-shot mobs and even players in PvP, and it's very, very satisfying. When it comes to a ranged DPS class that's super safe, easy to learn, and also has fantastic design and great class fantasy.
Well, remember, this video is not about what's better. This video is about what's an easy/good class to play, right? So somebody who's coming back or somebody who wants an easier time this time around, this video is telling you what the easiest DPS specs are to play right now.
Destruction Warlock is one of the best on this list. I love this spec heading into the new season, and it's definitely amongst one of the easiest specs to play in the game. Next up, we have one of my favorite class fantasies in all of World of Warcraft.
Windwalker.
We got the Windwalker monk. This badass spec in Season 2 is flying around, kicking people in the face and punching a lot of nutsacks like Johnny Cage because you're dealing a crap ton of damage. Not only that, it's a relatively straightforward rotation. Over the last couple seasons, Blizzard has made a serious effort in fixing this spec stat bonuses when it comes to haste and mastery. And at this point in Season 2, things feel fantastic for Windwalker monk, and the entire rotation is one of the most fluid and clear-cut designs I have played in the entire game. This is the only spec I can sit at a target dummy and literally just casually do my rotation and have a blast doing so. You got chunky AoE abilities like Fist of Fury and your Spinning Crane Kiv getting buffed, your procs for Blackout Kick are getting buffed, and now people are even testing out builds with the last Emperor's Capacitor where you have an 8,000% damage increase.
Also, their tier set makes you look like a Dragon Ball Z character, so I mean, why not?
AoE Crackling Jade Lightning, where you're just electrocuting people for a ton of damage. If you want to talk about fun animations with very cool class fantasy, a Panda Windwalker monk, in my opinion, is one of the most badass things in the game. The rotation for Windwalker is very straightforward. You have your builder and spender abilities. You tie it in with procs to enhance your damage on a single target or AoE abilities like Blackout Kick, Spinning Crane Kick, and then you have your new Slicing Winds ability, and you are going to be dealing some high damage very consistently. I'm very surprised their new Slicing Winds ability deals great damage because at first it was very bad on the PTR, but after testing it out the other day, it hit for like 5 to 6 million damage in one single cast. I think as of lately, the skill level required to play a Windwalker monk isn't as high as it used to be. Not only that, their damage on 11.1 is very exceptional amongst some of the highest in the game when it comes to melee DPS, and I think their design overall is very fluid, making them a very fun spec to play. I also like both of their hero talent trees, but I do prefer the Conduit of the Celestials. I love activating the Celestial Conduit ability. You deal some nice AoE damage, you summon all the Celestials from Pandaria, and it makes all my main abilities come off cooldown faster and generally speed up the gameplay, which is fantastic personally for me when I play Windwalker Monk. I love the spec heading into 11.1. Fantastic gameplay rotation, awesome theme, very straightforward to play, awesome spec. Next up, we do have another caster DPS. Believe it or not, we have the Balanced Druid.
Balanced Druid.
Giant.
How is Balanced Druid? I feel like Feral is going to be a lot more, maybe because it's melee. I'm kind of conflating easy and best right now. Feral's getting buffed so much. Feral's going to be in a really, really good spot for this patch. Quote me on it. Feral's going to be one of the best in this next upcoming patch, but he's talking about easiest, I guess because it's ranged. Yeah, balance might be easier to play.
Moon Chicken made the list, and believe it or not, they're looking solid in 11.1 so far. Once again, by far, one of my favorite things about balance is just the simplicity of the spec. You make sure you have your Sunfire and Moonfire on the target. You use Wrath a couple times. This video's making you angry. Your Lunar Eclipse state, and then you spam Starfire as much as you can while spamming Starfall if you're in AoE scenario.
Well, you guys just remember, you're getting angry at the video. The video's trying to explain what the easiest are, not the best.
That's pretty much the entire rotation from an AoE standpoint. It's visually appealing, very straightforward, and you can deal some nuclear damage very easily, which is always cool. What makes this spec so strong in AoE scenarios is the fact that Starfall does not have an AoE cap, meaning that it can hit as many enemies as you can pull, meaning that the more targets you have on your screen, the more damage you're going to be doing. Not only that, you're getting some wild mushroom procs from your tier set and the passive on the talent tree to deal extra damage, and generally from a rotation and visual standpoint, the Balanced Druid is pretty much as good as it can get if you want something simple, easy, and effective. Now, I will say the Balanced Druid does have its drawbacks. The biggest one that everybody talks about is the defensive capabilities. It's probably the lowest in the entire game for a caster. You have classes like Mage, Warlock, Elemental Shaman. They have phenomenal defensives. So them having poor defensives kind of drowns out the fact that Balanced Druid does such good damage, which kind of sucks. So if you're going to play a Balanced Druid in difficult content, you just have to be aware on your surroundings. Make sure you're not getting hit by mechanics, and you should be okay. Overall, though, DPS-wise, tier set-wise, and rotationally, I think Balance is in a pretty good spot heading into the new season. I do wish that Keeper of the Grove was better as a hero talent tree option, because I like the whole theme of summoning Trents to aid you in battle and deal explosive nature damage, but Elun's Chosen is just so much stronger. You're shooting out those Fury of Eluns on a much shorter cooldown, you cast those hard-hitting Starfires, and you just deal so much more consistent DPS. I do think Balanced Druid is one of the easiest casters to play in the game and can deal some of the best damage in AoE, which is going to be super big for Mythic Plus next season. Next up, we have probably the easiest spec you can play in the entire game. It's going to be...
This is exactly what I told my cousin to play. He's coming back, skipped the... last time he played was Shadowlands, so he was like, is the game better again? I was like, well, it's better than Shadowlands, that's for sure. So he's coming back. He told me, what should I play? I told him, didn't you have a Hunter? He told me, yeah. He goes, I want to play either Hunter or a Mistweaver Monk. I told him, play Beast Mastery Hunter. Play Beast Mastery Hunter. You will not be disappointed. It's an easy way to get back into the game. Easy way to level up because you got your pets, and it's pumping damage out right now. And that's what he's going to do.
Beast Mastery Hunter. If you're looking for easy, simple, and effective, there's literally no better spec to play in the game. Heading into 11.1, Beast Mastery has gotten loads of updates that is shooting their AoE damage up substantially and making them a very serious threat for Mythic Plus and AoE encounters. Additionally, their pack leader hero talent tree got completely redesigned, and thematically, it makes the spec so much cooler. With all this in mind, I'm going to be honest, Beast Mastery Hunter is absolutely back, and they're dominating right now on the PTR.
And here's the other thing about Hunter. Even if you're playing, you were saying marksmanship's good, it is, and so is survival. Like, really, you can play any of the three specs. You get sick of one, switch to another. On Hunter, they're all extremely viable right now. They're all doing really good.
Tons of explosive AoE abilities like Dire Cleave, where your Dire Beast gains Beast Cleave, Poison Barb, where your Barb Shot can explode and spread Serpent Sting, and not only that, the rotation is amongst some of the most simple in the game. You keep up your Barb Shot and throw the Hunt buffs, you use your Kill command on cooldown, you multi-shot to make all your beasts deal a bunch of AoE damage, and things are just gonna die around you. If you combine this with the fact that they're one of the highest damage dealing specs in the game heading into the new patch, I mean, the stock for Beast Mastery Hunter is looking fantastic right now. I mean, to show you how simple it is, if you mouse over some of their damage profiles on the PTR, their entire log in AoE is just kill cleave and beast cleave. And it's absolutely hilarious. I do think this is...
That's a pretty easy spec to play. Look at that. Two abilities.
Going to get slightly adjusted as we head into the new patch, but I'm loving Beast Mastery for how simple it is. I love the theme of having a bond with your pet and it being most of your damage. You got a nice little rework and major updates to both their talent trees. Loving BM heading into 11.1. Another class list video, another reason, I guess, to talk about Enhancement Shaman. Yeah, not only is Enhancement Shaman one of the best DPS in the game, they're pretty damn straightforward in the sense that they don't really have...
Enhancement Shaman is the best DPS in the game right now. It ranks out as the best. I think maybe Beast Mastery takes it over a little bit on single target, but overall damage... Elemental enhancement, I should say, is just amazing. It's so good. The utility's great that they give the group and everything. I think Elemental might be slightly above in certain scenarios, but just, I mean, it's so good to play Enhancement Shaman right now.
Have a set rotation. They have a priority
like
list
Hunter,
instead, meaning that...
Like Hunter, Shaman's another spec that really, class you could play almost any spec in it, and it's all really good right now.
If spell example A is off cooldown and ready to be used, you use spell example A. It's as simple as that. The skill level required to play this class is pretty low compared to some of the other class specs in the game. And if you pair that with the combined performance of them being top of the leaderboards currently, they're looking strong for Season 2. Not only that, both of their hero talent trees play so well into the Enhancement Shaman class fantasy, and they're both used and meta in most scenarios in the game. With the Totemic hero talent tree, you summon your Surging Totem to constantly explode for a surge of energy to deal damage to enemies around you.
And right now, Enhancement Shaman and Shaman in general is so good for dealing with Mythic Plus mechanics too. It's just, if you play Shaman right now, Enhancement or Elemental, you're going to be a desired pick in almost every scenario in the game right now.
The totem also enhances some of your
people abilities. Are going to want to invite
you.
you.
Stormbringer talent tree that allows you to deal explosive lightning damage to enemies while summoning ghost wolves to assist you in combat. And the best part about both these talent trees is that they're very straightforward, and the damage you gain from them is insane. It's amongst some of the highest in the entire game when it comes to individual class impact. With the Enhancement Shaman, you don't have a super slow gameplay style either. To someone maybe like Arms Warrior or Pharaoh Druid. So if you like, you know, high octane,
I like having shamans in raid
gameplay, the Enhancement Shaman is a spec that's going to be interesting to you. Absolutely, my favorite aspect of the Enhancement Shaman is going to be their tier set bonus as well, heading into Season 2, where it makes your Crash Lightning deal some insane damage and actually makes the spell feel...
That's right. If you want to be a Sith Lord, Shaman's the way to go.
Impactful. Yes, you heard that correctly. Crash Lightning dealing millions of damage per target, making it one of the most satisfying abilities in your kit next season. Enhancement Shaman overall has a relatively straightforward rotation with abilities that just hit so damn hard, man. You combine that with the fact that they have some of the highest utility in the game. There's a reason why this class spec is looking to dominate and one of the easiest heading into 11.1. One last note we wanted to make: if you're looking for a guild for people to progress through Mythic Plus with or raid with next season,
get in the guild.
The Comeback Kids are recruiting.
This animation's great. Did they make this thing?
Welcome to come on down, play with us. We're looking to fill out some new members for the raid. Oh my god, we fucking did it! Oh my god!
It's so fucking loud. The nerdgasms and stuff. I don't know who made that animation for them. This is freaking great, man. That's a really good one. I gotta find that artist.
Let's fucking go. That's how that shit gets done. If you're on the Horde, you can simply just go to the guild tab and search up the Comeback Kids.
The fucking Horde.
And we should pop up. Make sure you do have the guild size on any so you can actually see
fucking
us.
Playing the wrong faction.
If it doesn't work, you just use the Discord link in the comment section below. Hop in there and verify, get yourself in, and then we can get you invited by you posting your name and server under the guild invite tab.
Yeah, no augmentation evoker.
Hey, hope you enjoyed the video. Listen, if you guys enjoyed the content, we have a ton of other videos to help you get through the war within, like these two right here. And since you're already here, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button to join the Comeback Kids family today, because every subscriber matters. Thank you all so much for enjoying the video. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
That's a good one. I have to say, though, he ends his videos the wrong way. He should always end his videos by saying, and don't forget to come back, you know? Or don't forget to come might be the better one. Anyways, good video. Look, a lot of people are getting their, you know, all their fucking panties in a bunch and shit because they're like, oh, this isn't right. He's talking about the easiest, not the best, okay? And some of these actually are the best. Beast Mastery Hunter, Enhancement Shaman, I mean, pumping dicks off. Evoker's fine, but I don't think Evoker's the easiest. That mid-range is kind of hard to hold in a lot of fights, so it's not one of the easier ones. Overall, I agree with a lot of the list. It was a good one, and if you're coming back to the game and you want to play something easy, these are some good choices.